Put your red shirt on and a brown coat too. Everybody's joining the crew. We got just one ring, let we rule them all. Hope people remember your thoughts. Get your Uru feathers and your Middle guns. A sonic screwdriver or a sword +1. Use Valerian steel if it will get you to come. To the pit, tank. To the pit, tank. The Rocky Mountain pit, tank.
Hi, I'm Guy.
Hi, I'm Troy.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Geek Tank.
Your overstuffed ballot-sized box. And Guy, your audio is weird. I don't know if you have like the wrong mic on or something, or is
I
it?
might have the wrong mic on. Give me just a second. Because you can always tell when I'm wearing the wrong mic. I do. That's the right mic.
Yes, it is. Much better.
Hi, I'm Guy. Okay.
Yeah. Happy Election Eve.
Right? Happy Election Eve, everyone.
Woot.
Woot.
So I just saw your message. I found an image online for the Blue Book guy. If you wanted to show the thing you had, and
I
then
have
can
the
show.
thing I have right here.
But you probably should prep it for those who have no idea what we're talking about.
It is Election Eve. We have all been inundated by various documentation that has said a number of things like vote for me because the other guy's an idiot and stuff like that. But we've hit a new level of interesting with this particular thing because I got this in the mail. And this looks like an official document from the Jefferson County clerk. It even says George P. Stern, Jefferson County Clerk and Recorder, and has all of the information and nonprofit postage paid to all registered voters. And it says this is not a ballot and has all this stuff. But inside of it, it only talks about two things. One, it talks about ballot issue 1A right here. And what it says is, here is the ballot issue. And it says then, it pretty much says, if you vote for 1A, you will lose all of your Tabor money, and nobody has said anything positive about it. It literally says there's nothing for it. Right?
Can you show that front cover to me again?
Yeah.
I want to check something here. All right, that is... Yeah, okay. I was looking at another one, notice of election to increase taxes / to increase debit. Is that what that says?
It has information about ballot issue 1B. This here is the section of positive things said about ballot issue 1B. Here are all the negative things that somebody has said about ballot issue 1B. It's hard to read, doesn't really matter. Because all it's really saying in essence is, let's vote no. Let's make sure we're not blindly jumping off a cliff with no safety net. It's time to step back, get a handle on our crime and raising homelessness issues. Let's not jump to approve senseless measures like this. Ask yourself, will your neighborhood benefit from having access to more marijuana? Then ask yourself, will increased access to drugs help our homeless population?
So for anyone who's actually read a Blue Book, will recognize this is not the language they use.
Right, exactly. And here is ballot 1C. And this is the positive, this one line right here. And here is the negative, all of that. Right? So what this really is essentially saying is, it says, this will override, it says right here, it says, they wrote the language to include permanently giving up our rights under the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, Tabor, concerning this new tax. Reason enough to vote no. It's a blank check. This is conservative propaganda.
Now, does it say anywhere on there that this is not an official election thing?
It says this is not a ballot.
Right, but it doesn't say this is not the Blue Book.
But it does not say anything about it not being official.
Yep. So for
Nowhere on here.
those who
In
are
fact,
wondering,
this is all looks very much like it came from Jefferson County. It looks like it came from our clerk. And that there that Troy is putting up here.
Oops, where'd it go?
It's down here.
There we go.
There we go. That's the blue book that we get sent every year, which does have information. And you can see how much it looks and acts like this book, this booklet. It even has the information, the election mail thing on the back, the symbol that they use to show that it's election mail. And this is conservative propaganda.
Yep.
And I am both impressed and horrified at the same time. Because I actually picked this up and read through this because I thought this was a supplement to our blue book. And I was like, oh, so the state doesn't want me to vote for these things? Why does the state not care? Why does the state care?
Yeah, state's usually biased.
Right.
I'm sorry, unbiased.
Unbiased, right? But I mean, it's like, and then I was reading it and I'm like, oh, I get it. This is all specifically designed to be propaganda to vote against those 3 ballot measures.
Now I know this is the first
as actual official voting materials.
I know this is the first year you've seen it, but it makes me wonder how many previous years it might have already been in existence.
Yeah. This is the first time I caught it. But I tried to be very equitable. I don't jump to conclusions. I try not to join the bandwagon of, the one team or the other team is, because I know that there's propaganda out there. I know that there are things where people are trying to, they blow something out of proportion to make the other side look bad. But this is the first time that I've actually seen a party actually actively try to mislead me and successfully do so. They successfully misled me. And I find that to be a little unconscionable, very unethical. But like I was saying to B-Dan, I say I try very hard to be equitable, but this makes it very difficult because this leads me to believe that side is cheating. I know, I caught them cheating.
I could tell you what our conservative friend would say, and he's like, well, the other side does it too, with, of course, out any proof that the other side does.
Right. Well, I've got proof right here. This is proof. There's nothing positive in there about these 3 measures, and it turns out that I read the measures online and I don't know, I didn't see anything wrong with them personally. You know what I mean? Like all of that seems to be a whole bunch of, do you want druggies on your houses, in your house, in your basement, sort of fear mongering. And I couldn't figure anything in there that was really actually a detriment to Colorado, which is what tipped me off on this one. I was like, okay, you're doing a whole bunch of, do you really want druggies? And I'm like, that sounds like conservative language to me. Think of all the drug users that'll be in your basement with needles if you approve this measure. Okay, that sounds like fear mongering. And so,
well, there you
I'm
go.
intrigued by that and horrified. So
usually, I found that conservatives, at least the conservatives I know, flat out have a default of, if it's a tax, vote against it.
Yep.
They don't even look into what the tax would benefit.
Which is why Tabor is so horrible and why I'm so anti-Tabor. So for those of you who are not Coloradans, Tabor is our tax users' Bill of Rights. And it effectively says there will be no taxes without a vote. We can never raise our taxes without a vote, which means that many of our public utilities are still stuck at about 1992 or 1995 budgets because they can't raise their budgets because everybody automatically goes, no, raise the taxes. Psh, no. So I remember my mom,
your mom,
saying that in 1992, when it passed, she's like, that's it. We're going to lose all of our public funding for everything. Everything's going to get squeezed. And she was right. And now everybody's like, our roads suck. They should do something about our roads. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's because you haven't given the Department of Transportation, CDOT, any kind of wage increase because we have to vote for it. And everybody automatically votes no. So they're still running on 2003, I think was the
I noticed that there was a tax on Alex's face. It's missing some facial hair.
Yes, we've had a beard tax for Alex.
Nah, just I'm gonna. Well, I'm looking for a job, and I got a in-person interview coming up on Thursday.
Yeah.
And you have
So
to
I
work
decided
for
to
a real
trim it all
human.
down. And,
Looks-
and as I trimmed it, I was like, I was trying to like keep it like most of the beard. I'm like, you know what? Nah, screw it. Just take almost all of it off, and so I'll just be like, hold on.
Look at you.
looks sharp as always, man.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
He didn't hear me because he had his headphones off. You look
Yeah.
sharp as always, man.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you know,
Thank-
we're
thank you
kind
very
of
much.
razzing you. However, the truth of the matter is you look good. So really, we can't complain.
I know.
Yeah,
I
you-
know. I know you know.
So, so
This isn't really
you're
surprising.
you're ground zero with some of the election stuff, Alex, right?
Yeah, I'm volunteering for in the ballot mines.
In
I'm,
bad minds.
helping out with yep, a freshly mined ballot. Time to smelt it. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I did that today, and for a long time. There was the shift was like, I don't know, 11 hours today,
Mm-hmm.
and the
it's
shift
gonna be
tomorrow is at
brutal
least
tomorrow.
12 hours. Because I guess they don't have enough people. Or I've never done this before, but I guess they don't have enough people to actually like have people come in for like half the time or whatever. So yeah, but no, it was pretty good. I'm over at North High School, and
Ooh, North. I get a
Yeah.
lot of kids from there.
yeah, so I'm doing North High School, and yeah, we're just in there and helping people vote because I believe in, I mean,
You believe in the process.
in my heart of hearts, I'm a black and red anarchist, but I understand that we're not really there yet. And I also understand that voting, there's a diversity of tactics in voting, though it is not the only way, or even maybe even the best way to get the changes that I want. It still helps in doing something called harm reduction. Harm reduction is real.
Mhm.
So
Agreed. And actually, I mean, it's funny, but I'm going to, if there's any cries of, the ballots have been stolen or whatever this year, I'm going to challenge my friends and say, did you work for it? Because now I know somebody who actually did the work. They were
Now-
actually there.
another argument to make is, well, where are you getting that from? Well, you're getting that from elected officials. Okay, well, the elected officials have been saying that the election has been rigged for how many election cycles, but they keep on getting voted in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you think that they would also believe in the process, and they're just grifting you, man.
Right. It's like if they truly believe it, why are they still attempting to play the game?
Right. Or moreover, why are they still in office?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were being voted or they were being manipulated, wouldn't they not be there?
Yeah, it's a stupid argument,
It is.
and one that they don't actually believe, but
Right.
their suckers do.
Yeah. Fear mongering.
But,
It works.
It does. And then, in case anybody is watching this who doesn't already know, our one viewer,
Hey, it says we have 4 now.
4 viewers, yes.
3
I
of them
am
might be the same guy. Sorry.
It's all right. I am a naturalized citizen. I was born of a natural born citizen overseas, whose father hated the fact that she got married and had me so much he refused to take my paperwork to the U.S. Embassy. So I'm not considered a natural born citizen because the paperwork didn't get filed properly.
It means no Alex for president.
No me for president.
Dang.
I don't know. Maybe Alex for president wouldn't be bad.
God is good. For if God were not good, I would be president. No, that's a riff off of a George R. R. Martin line. But anyway, yeah.
Well, cool. Gosh, what does it say about the elections?
I was gonna say, you know what, Guy? I hope that you. I mean, you'll probably be able to make that argument, but at least one of the people I know that you'll probably be making that argument to won't listen to you.
I know.
Because you've made that same argument using stuff I've done as an example. But
Yes.
oh no, that's different.
Yes, actually, I've even said, why don't you talk to Alex? He was there.
So I was thinking of
He
a
never did that I'm aware of.
I guess, be like a litmus test or something, just to check when people are talking politics, and that's to find out how often have you voted off party line,
Mhm.
if ever. And then secondly, do you hold your elected officials that you want in office to the same level that you hold the quote unquote other guy to, or other girl to? Because that's something I feel mostly proud with myself, that regardless of a person's party and whether I wanted them there or not, I hold them to the same standards.
Mhm.
And I don't feel I'm blind to when they screw up, because I am upset when they screw up. Whereas I've seen more often um, people who will just ignore things, and that of course was really the most obvious from 2016 to 2020, because there was just, it seemed very obvious there's things going on, and it was just sort of hand waved like, oh, that's nothing. It's like, how can you ignore these things just because it's the person you want in office?
Right.
And it's kind of like with the current president. There's without a doubt, without any doubt, there are issues there. But to say that everything's perfect and fine, which is what seemed to be the case before this person, is just crazy to me. But
I
I know
challenge you, Troy.
I know
I know you vote the straight Terra floor ticket.
I do. No, I refer to her so I don't have to do my homework. It's like
we
back in high
actually
school.
we
I'd
went
feed off of
through
her.
every one of them, and we looked them over, and we looked at we specifically went to each candidate's platform and read it to see if we agreed. So we did not breed the hype. We went to their direct web pages and read their platforms where available. There were a number of them where there was nothing out there but, don't vote for Joe Smith because he's a horrible person. Oh yeah, don't vote for Tom Jones because he's a horrible person. And there was nothing out there that would tell us anything. They didn't have a platform. They didn't have a website. They didn't have anything to tell us. And so we just went then we went party lines by that point, because you can't just believe whatever's out there.
It's not
Uh,
unusual to vote for Tom Jones.
and it's
Well,
not
yeah,
unusual
it's a
to
thing.
vote for Tom Jones.
So
The
that is a
so-
thing.
sorry.
I was just gonna say, so but I mean, I try really hard every year, but the thing I've noticed is we have become so polarized now that they use the propaganda hot buttons now as their platform. So they're specifically saying the things they're obviously going to turn off the other. I mean, like, every one of these guys was like, we're for pro-life and saving children and screw women. I mean, like, almost literally said that right on their web pages. And we're like, you're asking for us to not vote for you. I mean, you're specifically saying, if you are a believer of pro-choice, don't vote for me.
But there's people out there who are like, well, I kind of wanted to let women have their own choice, but then I decided I wanted to save a few dollars on gas, so I had to vote for the other person.
Right. Yeah.
You're like,
I save a lot of money on gas by driving EVs.
Oh snap!
by driving women. Wait, that's
The
by changing to Geico.
no, on a little tangent here. The very first
Hi, Andy.
class, hello Andrea, for voiceover lessons that I took, we just did a reading of like the same copy and kind of like talked about what we thought the individual would be good at, like what we want to hear their voice doing. And for me, one of the things that came up was political ads, like, and it was like, their guy eats puppies. At least our guy cooks them first. Vote our guy.
besides the obvious gerrymandering and electoral college stuff that should be changed. The one thing that I really think should be changed is the cap on how much money can be spent per person running, because right now there's no real cap.
Citizens United. Oh, I'm sorry.
So the richer you are, the more ads you get out, the more likely you're going to get picked or quote unquote voted.
Yeah, but that could never go wrong. They told me
Mhm.
so when they put Citizens United through.
Yeah.
They promised that would never happen.
Those in power will do everything they can to accrue more power.
And to keep others out of that power.
Well, Yes.
I
I broke my political science teacher's heart when I told her I wasn't going into political science.
I
She's like,
can't.
You're so good at it. I'm like, I know. I'm doing something else. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I can't convince Tara to go any further than where she's at because of she just knows that she would hate anything beyond the
she'd
level
start
she's
hating
at.
it.
And it's a money sink, and it becomes a money game, and she doesn't want the power, which means she doesn't have the motivation to throw everything at it and to do the things that it seems people do to get into the power.
Right.
Which is what would make her perfect for it.
Yeah, exactly. She'd be the perfect. In fact, if your wife was president, I'd be super happy.
Mhm.
Like,
oh man,
she'd be
she would have to divorce me and then
right and
bury every bit of internet presence of myself out there before she could run, because they would use so much of my own stuff.
So much.
That picture of me kissing Jeff's brother in that movie.
Yeah.
There's so
just
much stuff out there.
Anything from you doing your mass murderer skits, or all they need to do is just take those out of context,
or your half of ass and my half of ass, and then Jeff's whole ass in between our asses.
Yep.
That would just be the shot right there that they would use.
Do you really want this ass in the White
House? You want a woman president who is married to this guy?
To this ass?
This half-assed.
He half-asses everything. See the picture? There we go. I had to. That was what I was headed for.
Yep.
You got there, buddy.
It took me some time, but I got there.
But yeah, I think she would be great at
awesome. But you're right. I mean, that's the problem. She doesn't have the money, and she doesn't have really the desire for power, and therefore the perfect president would never be there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the extra hits on my stuff, Andy. So if they go looking for it, I'll get the extra views on my movies.
Look at that Troy's ass video. Yeah.
Look for Troy's butt online at www.troysbutt.
All right, I'm googling Troy's butt now.
Don't do it.
Googling your butt.
Don't do it.
Happen.
There's a Facebook page called Troy's butt.
What a surprise.
I bet it's not my butt. No, that's not my butt.
I'm sure that's someone's real name. Just like we had to have a real name for our family account.
That's not my. I recognize my butt anywhere. That's not my butt.
I'd know my that. Whoa! Do I have that on my butt? Oh my god!
I don't know if did I tell the story about my butt getting smaller on the podcast?
Yes, sir. Well, I remember you telling the story. I don't remember if I think it was on the podcast.
Okay, sure. Then I will not read
because it was about pants not staying on.
Yeah, correct. Or not fitting correctly. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway. Go back through our other podcasts to give us more hits. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of Troy's butt, let's talk about our sponsors. No, wait. That's not the way I wanted to go. We are going to say that Geek Tank is sponsored, and probably for the last time, by Carrying Games, because of this whole thing, by Carrying Games, Geekway Homes, and
your mom loves my butt.
Well, I mean, out of all of us, we only have one mom left.
That's true.
That's true. We are kind of short moms. Kind of brutal.
Time to go make some more moms. Wait.
Time to go make moms. I'll be back.
It's the Bob.
All right. So this election is a mid-term election. So we're not voting for president or anything like that. But it is important. And one of the things that I'm curious about is there is an ongoing kind of battle between the political left and the political right. And I think it's interesting how much of the political spectrum covers very small amounts of land, which is what you were talking about earlier with gerrymandering. Mm-hmm. We've got an awful lot of people in New York and an awful lot of people in Los Angeles, and you leave LA County and go to just the mountains, and you're immediately going from 500 people per square meter or whatever to no people per square meter, or a quarter of a person per square meter. And you end up with quite a bit of a difference. And I find it interesting that isn't obvious to people. Like, they believe that, that huge amount of California, all of California, or like Colorado is even a great example of it. Most of Colorado is red, votes red. Like, if you look by square mileage, we are like 90% red. But Denver and Boulder pull a lot of blue, but we're all packed in right out here. We're very packed in. And so the argument has always been sort of but look at how much of Colorado is red. And I'm like, it is clear to people that that's like not, that's not, and I can't seem to ever convince anybody to understand that. That's such a weird thing to not see. You know what I mean? It's kind
that
of
land doesn't vote.
Land doesn't
The
vote.
Bears don't vote. They just,
I keep even saying it in the same, like, I've got a buddy who has a lot of kids, right? And in their house, they have like 10 people, right? And I said, well, okay, let's do it this way. From now on, you are the only person that can vote in your household, and I'm the only person that can vote in mine. Who here is going to haul the values? You know what I mean? Like, if you look at it that way, you've got 10 people who want to go one specific way, and we've got 3. But if you go by house to house, we're equal, you and me. And he still didn't quite, he still thought that's not fair.
I know
Even
you're talking about. Your friend's an idiot.
Obviously against him.
Fight me.
Right? Even when it was obviously against him in this instance. It's so weird. So strange. Because I have always been a proponent of direct democracy. I feel like we have the technology now. We have the ability to make the first $1 million man. Ding, 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 ding. So we could make direct democracy work. You could wake up every morning with a series of things that need to be voted on your phone, and you could push the buttons, and everybody's like, oh yeah, but your phone could be hacked. And I'm like, yeah. So you just make something that says that if your registration number comes in twice, then somebody investigates it, and every so often, every 10 years or so, if Alex hasn't voted for 10 years, somebody comes out to Alex's house, knocks on the door and says, have you been abstaining from voting for the last 10 years? Alex says, yes. They go, okay, thanks, and walk away. I mean, it's like, you have a right to do that. But I think that we certainly have the capability and technology of which to do that. And it disturbs me that every time this is brought up, I can't do that.
There's people who are upset that there's still mail-in ballots, which is ridiculous because mail-in ballots are super useful and mandatory to be able to allow people in the military overseas to vote.
Yeah.
So it's
or me. I was voting when I wasn't in the military, but I was over in Japan. I was still a U.S. citizen.
I know I'm dealing with somebody I can't have a conversation with when they are against the government giving free transportation to people to get to voting booths.
Right.
It's like, well, it's their responsibility to get there and vote. It's like, now I see you only want people who can afford to get there to vote.
You don't want rich people to vote.
You only want, yeah. So it's
or upper and middle class only. No lower class voting at all.
Yeah, I've been very selective about picking who I argue with.
I just find a lot of this seems like it's a shoe-in obvious thing. I keep here. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, Andy's in the exact same position I was. I mean, like Andy and Neil both have to vote the same way I had to vote when I was over there.
Yep.
By mail is what we're talking about.
Yeah, by mail.
Not check guy's ballot to vote like him.
Right. They must vote like me. I will now tell you what I voted so that they know. But I mean, I think about that a lot this should be a shoe-in, and it isn't. And it's like the daylight savings time thing. I just found out that we've voted to get rid of daylight savings time, except that it won't happen because somebody put a bunch of caveats into it. And those caveats aren't met, and therefore it cannot happen. So we're still going to be in daylight savings time switches,
Boo hiss boo.
right? I don't know a single person. I know one person when I put out like an informal poll on the one person responded and said that they actually liked it. I actually think I had two, but the other one was like, oh, I just liked having the extra time in the day or whatever. But, nothing. It was like, clearly this will ruin my life if we get rid of it. It was just, I like it, by Raven. But I mean, it's an interesting thing that there is still some special interest group in there enough that even though I have not met anyone who likes the daylight savings time switch, and we don't even really know the story of where it comes from. I keep hearing a different story every day. Now, I even went and researched it, and researching it gave me 6 different origin stories.
I think nowadays daylight savings is just the the powerful going dance monkey dance.
It
to us
totally is.
plebs.
But the thing is that, like, with our law, we passed the law that says that we can get rid of daylight savings time if 4 other states in the mountain time zone switch to daylight savings time only. Well, 3 have switched to daylight savings time, but Arizona is on standard time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and they've been on standard time for forever.
Yeah, but
for decades.
Because of that, we can't switch. And for some reason, Idaho got screwed up doing their version of it. And like the top half of Idaho agreed and the bottom half of Idaho didn't. And so they're landlocked over there. They can't get out of it and they're stuck. And so, like, we're not going to be able to switch.
Yeah. When it comes to, I don't know, whenever I hear, and it's not even the particular argument, it's kind of, I'm going back to the direct democracy tangent. When I hear a particular argument saying, what basically boils down to, oh, but it's going to be, it can be hacked, or the worst thing, especially like if the argument becomes, it's going to be, the worst thing that can happen, or like, it's just going to be the same thing we already have. It's like, okay, well, that's a stupid argument. It's like, if your argument is, if it goes wrong, if we just have what we have now, it's like, okay, but we still tried to change what we have now to something better.
I keep hearing tyranny of the majority, and I keep going, that is the most bizarre argument.
As opposed to tyranny of the minority?
Right?
Give me a fucking break.
What I said was, there are 2 ways to govern people. You have 2 ways of doing it. 1, we can vote, or 2, I can shoot you until you do what I tell you to do. And there's nothing in between. There's no middle ground. There really isn't. And if you do the vote, then it has to be very specific. We have to hold to the vote. Like, it must be the word of God. Like, if the 3 of us voted and the 2 of you voted for pizza and I voted for hamburgers and we went and got hamburgers anyway, you 2 would never vote again.
Right.
You would just wait until I was asleep and beat me up.
Why would we wait?
Right? Just start now.
Like, I'm reminded of this TV show Rome, where they're talking about, it's like, where the Republic was sacred. It was a sacred thing. And in those times, and in the show, it's like, which one's that one? Is that the sullen Catonian one? It's like, no, it's the jovial, the jovial, boisterous one. Okay, that's fine. And like, even though in my heart of hearts, I'm totally a sullen Catonian, the Republic kind of guy. I'm sitting there helping people in the ballot mines. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer that if you screw up the vote, people don't vote, and I've seen that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is the Democrat side feels like, and I don't know whether, I know what I think. However, I'll give the benefit of the doubt that perhaps nothing actually is going on, but whatever is the story, it feels to the Democrat side that their vote matters not at all and never does. And so they don't vote, which works. Because if you don't vote, then the other side gets the win.
Yeah. There's all sorts of reasons of why things like that are going on. And then it's if you, and also there's no like what kind of lenses you're looking at things through. If you're just looking for a purely economic lens, then you get a lot of analogies like, oh well, our two parties are the same, are wings on the same bird, or things like that. And it's like, oh yeah, but I mean there are substantive differences. It's like if you know, if you have your friend who is like, you know, you're doing the pride with them and you just had to go to like your end of town and oh yeah, you hang out here at this shop for a minute while I go grab some money from the ATM, and the shop is full of people with MAGA hats, or the shop is full of people with, you know, yes we can. Which one are you going to leave your, which one are you going to trust your friend's going to be okay hanging out waiting for you to get back from the ATM?
Yeah.
Come on. Let's be real.
And I mean,
they're exactly the same. They are not exactly the same. Sure. Says the black and red anarchist.
Yeah, one of the arguments that I've heard before that I hate when people try to talk against the pure democracy is well, at one time the majority believed in slavery. I'm like, well, how's that an argument about fixing things now? You're saying that we shouldn't have majority rules because at one time people made really bad decisions.
So you're effectively saying you want a dictatorship.
If you look at that argument, it's like, okay, well, the majority wanted that, or the majority of people in power wanted that.
Right.
I mean, legitimately,
because I'm pretty sure all those slaves that outnumbered all those southern plantation owners really didn't want that.
Yeah,
give them the vote and let's see what happens.
Right? Because that's the thing. Of course, on the same token, if you say the minority should have the power, then you want a dictatorship. That's what you want. That's what you're saying. There's two choices here.
Authoritarianism.
You either acknowledge majority rules or you want a dictatorship. There's no middle ground. You can dress up your dictatorship any way you want. But if you want your dude who believes that there should be no pineapple on pizza, and there's only two people who believe that there should be no pineapple on pizza, but you've managed to manipulate the universe until those two people have 20 votes apiece, then you're really got a dictatorship. It doesn't matter.
If you're talking about like abortion and that, you're not going to ruffle any feathers. When we start talking about pineapple and pizza, you're going to start getting hate mail sent to us.
That's true. That's true. I should leave that alone.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous topic.
I do agree with that, Andrea. Yeah, that actually speaks to a quote I recently read of talking about. It was in a different context, but it's very similar types of people, and it was like people who are hard as screws but soft as pudding, who burn in their heart of hearts with a Calvinist fire for the right to be told what to do. It's like, oh, I'm such a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, well, it's like, do you actually want to be an engaged citizen, or do you just want to be told what to do and to feel good doing it?
Yeah.
Brent says,
start his own country.
Start our own country with blackjack and hookers, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's been 2 years now since the whole thing that happened, which a whole 2 years since the attack on the Capitol. And that was just, I can't believe that there's still people who are like, that was justified and nothing bad happened. And we're watching the same footage.
Right. It's like the same. It's like, you know, there's all sorts of pictures of this is what's going to happen if so-and-so keeps on getting elected. And it's like, but those pictures are all from when your people were in power.
Yep.
And threatening violence. Somebody else had also said, because a lot of officials have been attacked, and it was interesting that of those officials being attacked, clearly 90% of them were Democrats being attacked. And it was telling that the media is trying to be equitable by saying there are a lot of attacks on elected officials. It's a higher percentage now than ever before, but they're not saying which side. And at this point, it's, I mean, like statistics, I mean, this isn't manipulating the data. there's, let's say there were 100 people that were attacked, 92 of them were Democrats. The remaining 7 were Republicans, and that's a significant.
Yeah.
That's not a scientific. You can't say by an error margin.
Yeah,
There's no error margin.
news outlets who are doing that are being disingenuous, and you should stop listening to them.
Yeah.
I mean, like, especially with let's take for instance, probably the most high profile one, the Pelosi one.
Yeah.
It's like, if you break it down to, this guy assaulted an elderly person looking for a different elderly person to assault, and your response isn't, wow, that's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fight me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come to my house and do it, though, because then I'll fight really, really hard, and then I won't stop. Fight me in the streets somewhere, and it'll just be you. I promise.
But I mean, that's a thing that's part of it. Somebody had said something about the effect of when I don't remember. We had a Republican official that was attacked about 6 or 7 years ago. A while back. It was, everybody was like, this is horrible. You shouldn't do that. The Republicans, this is unconscionable. The Democrats, this is terrible. And flip it around, and now we've got the Democrats saying this is terrible, and the Republicans going, well, it was probably his gay lover. And you're like, what?
And there was actually one, I just had her name pulled up here a minute ago, official Republican person who had made a joke about how they don't have good security at their house.
Right.
And it's like, I despise many things that the former president did, but if he was attacked, I don't think I'd be joking about it. I could be wrong. If he's attacked, we'll find out. But I think it's a bad idea to attack anybody. It's not the way the system's set up to be. And
no, it doesn't help our system.
No, and it's not a well thought out.
It's not
a well thought out thing. It's like, well, what were you expecting to achieve? Because it's not going to achieve anything beyond that one level of person you're hurting and the people who love them.
Right.
It's like the attack on the Capitol. It's like, what did they expect to do? Let's assume they got everyone out, everybody evacuated, except for the people who attacked it, and then they set up camp there. Do they think the government has a steering wheel in that building and they're just going to take over how things work? No, they would eventually get tear gassed into oblivion and then arrested. There's no winning that. There's no showing the other side. Look how tough we are. Change what you're doing. It's
interesting. I just had this discussion today about something that's similar, but in a similar vein, but doesn't sound it right off the bat. But it's the sending unsolicited genital pics, which is the same thing. Why would you do that? It doesn't make the person go, "Oh, now I must have sex with you." It's not. My mom,
your mom, she sends you little pics.
Had this pegged all the way down from the beginning. It's about power.
Your mom pegged people.
She totally did. She was into that. Hey,
Hi.
We don't judge. We don't judge. But no, I mean, she had this down to a fine science. All of that stuff is not about sex. Rape is not about sex. None of that's about sex.
It's about power.
It's about power. And this was about power. This was a power play. This was, we are now in the Capitol. Even if it didn't last long, even if they got tear gassed, the win was there because a power play occurred. No kink shaming, says Bob.
What if kink shaming is my kink?
You still need to get consent.
Okay. I want it in writing.
Nice try.
Okay. What if not getting consent is their kink?
Fuck them.
But I need consent before
first.
Get consent for their non-consent.
Okay.
That's important.
Okay.
Then it's just play.
But it's power.
They
It's
have
about
their
power.
safe words.
And that was the whole point that mom had when she was talking about it back then. That was her whole point too. It's never about that, because I didn't understand it. I could never imagine doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine doing any of those things at the time. I can't imagine sending unsolicited dick pics now. It doesn't seem like anything. The only unsolicited dick pics I do send is every so often I will send pictures of Richard Nixon, because he was by far the biggest dick. Anyway, and I will send those to people without their permission. Just saying. Anyway, but I mean, I don't get any of that. Well, it's a power play.
I think they completely lack foresight too. I've got power, and they don't think beyond that. It's like people who commit stupid crimes without forethought of how to get away with it.
Yeah. Although the ones that are stupid crimes, I tend to find are, crimes of passion, generally speaking. And by passion, I also mean you're hungry, and that makes you passionate. So I often think that some people do stupid crimes. You're like, why did they do that? And it's probably due to some horrible, terrible thing happening to them. So
Poor impulse control.
Yep, that's a thing.
Tattooed across the head, right?
Anyway,
I get it. Uh-oh.
breaking into a
Uh-oh.
boat.
Guys,
is that
is
what
it robot guy time?
Did Andy break into a Burger King?
I wonder if I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Am I getting robotic?
No, you started to stutter on my screen.
To lock up.
Well, maybe I was stuttering. I'm.
It's not funny when you do
max
it on purpose.
Headroom. Max headroom. Max headroom.
Also, since we hit a dead part, I will say, for those who are curious, if you type in Troy Fleur's butt, possessive with the comma, I'm very proud that the very first thing that popped up on Google was my comment on Facebook to a cosplayer that we know, who did a cosplay from Scott Pilgrim, because I used the term kick-ass cosplay. It's an ass butt and that. So, and then the next one below that, or the two below that, are movie Nights and Nerds, which all three of us were. Oh, wait, were you were in that, right, guy? Were you or no? You were in Japan, 2008.
Yeah. No, I was in Japan, but I was in 101.
Yeah, I was in Knights and Nerds. So was
Yeah,
Lauren.
you were the avatar of me for the character.
Authorial insert.
Yes. So cool. It actually is me if you put my name in there.
Aww.
But not my butt. But that's okay.
We can make it happen. Get
Yeah.
the Geek Tank army on it.
Need enough.
Bend the algorithm.
All five of us in there
If I-
really quickly.
If I get the Geek Tank logo tattooed on my ass, then that would probably
Then it would work.
Yeah. I wanted to
We
look
can
up
make that happen.
Burger King break-in because I'm curious.
I feel
Man breaks into Burger King and drinks gallons of. What did he drink?
Because he got
Ugh, gallons of deep frying oil.
oh my god.
I thought it'd be like gallons of soda, but
I was hoping it would gallons of soda. I mean, actually, I really necessarily wasn't, but
25 gallons of used oil from deep. Is this real, or is this Memorax?
that cannot possibly. He could not have lived through that.
Yeah, I think you die after the first 3 gallons, right? All right, this I gotta back out of this and see if I can find substantiating information on this. All right, I'm sorry. I'm backing out of this. Andy, see what you made me do. I blame you. All right.
Speaking of poor impulse control,
I'm going to
I
vote.
was gonna say,
I'm voting for that guy for president now. If you can drink 25 gallons of used oil and not die, nothing could kill you.
death might be preferable.
Yeah, I think I would. Give me the choice. Oh, here we go. Got to go to Snoop's. I bet Snoop's busted it. There's Snopes.
Right.
Sorry.
right, especially knowing how filthy oil gets, says Bob.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who is an expert on this?
Oh man, we had so I don't know if places still do this, but I used to work in a fast food joint back in college, and to get the oil out of the fryers, it was basically like a little gas nozzle thing that you would use to pour it out.
Nozzle.
And I actually accidentally burned myself on my arm with it, and the pattern looked like a barcode. And I was like, it really hurt, but I thought it looked really cool too. But,
Like this hurts, but on the other hand, it is
The nozzle.
The
Do not
nozzle.
look away from the nozzle.
mhm.
The nozzle.
The nozzle is calibrating.
Oh, false. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Snopes.
There's
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's no
Well,
way.
if you drink like what 1 or 2 gallons of milk, your body rejects it instantly. So
Okay, I'll be back. I gotta try it. No, I'm just kidding. Challenge accepted.
I'm sure that's on YouTube somewhere,
Oh.
several times over.
I'm not
Well,
trying that.
All right,
I've done the cinnamon challenge and passed. I'm not doing the drink 2 gallons of milk challenge. That ain't happening.
Why would you do the cinnamon challenge? Was there money involved?
Because I knew that I could do it, and I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, who are these pussies?
Mount Everest. I did it because I was there. So vote if
There.
if you haven't voted yet. Why are you waiting so long? I imagine everybody listening to this has already voted if they are a legal age and can vote.
I hope so.
Yep.
You know, it's funny. When I was in Japan, we were kind of concerned that our vote wasn't going to make it. There was a lot of discussion about that. Like, there were people who were saying our vote didn't make it. It never got counted. Because there was, it was just a thing. So I kind of hope they fixed that problem, because that was annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Disenfranchisement. Never a good look.
Yep, I vote every time, even though I feel like it's completely useless on some levels. But if I don't do it, then I'm not at least attempting to try to do something.
Yeah, and then doing all the research and everything. That's that's the road to advanced citizenship, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Think about your positions. Do the research. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I did. That's what we should all do.
Man. Well, we managed to only talk about stupid stuff a little bit this entire episode. So, and we did do the thing for a long time. I think we were trying very hard not to be too overtly political.
And then you invited me.
When we invited you. Well, I think it was obvious to anyone who watched, even if they didn't know us. It's easy to pick up on our stances of.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to be a geek from the 80s and not be very open-minded, because we had to take so much crap as geeks to begin with. We can empathize with anyone that takes crap from any bullying group.
Oh, but only if you want to.
Only if I want.
You still have to want to.
Right, I have to want
to be willfully ignorant of it.
That's true. You could choose. You could choose to not notice it. Why do we hang out with certain people again? Because try not to live in an echo chamber.
Starship
I guess
Troopers has the coolest thing, because of that whole shower scene. That was the coolest thing.
Because guy likes boobs.
Yep. That is totally the reason why I like that scene.
And that's how we know you're human.
Totally human. I am definitely a human. I like human things, like boobs.
Well, your human Rayla impersonation is terrible. But now Lauren has a theory. I don't know if I mentioned on the cast before, but the theory.
The book is pretty good too. You're right.
Like the unified theory of universal boob love.
Right.
That for pretty much everybody, boobs meant food and comfort and warmth.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore everybody of any orientation of any sort, deep in their lizard brain, boobs are good.
You think that's innate, even if the person's never breastfed and was only brought up on formula?
Yeah, probably, because they still get bosom time.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was related to that same theory or a theory that my brother had about the reason butts are attractive is because of this, how they resemble boobs.
They resemble boobs. That's actually not that. I mean, not to knock your brother, but that was Desmond Morris's argument.
Okay. Well, I remember hearing it from a source, and he was probably him, and I doubt he took credit as his source.
I can't imagine your brother doing it. Yeah, I mean, the way your brother operated, I would imagine it.
And I managed to bring it back around to butts again.
So yeah, good job.
You got
mission success.
Yes.
Yeah, I Starship Troopers. I haven't read this since I was a teenager, and Heinlein for me, I mean, is so hit or miss. I've never really revisited anything he's written after I've read it once. I mean, some of it's great, and some of it's I'm kind of like, so bad.
You got your other show tonight, guy?
I do.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Get out of here.
I've been sitting over here kind of prepping for the work for tonight, so that I can have it ready to go whenever we get there.
Cool. All right. Let's see. And your thing with NDK does not extend into Monday night next week, correct?
It does not. I should be
So,
back home by Monday.
Okay, so you will be part of the show then. I was just doing a quick double check here, and yeah, nothing to prep. So who knows what we'll talk about next week? I doubt it'll be about the election results because it'll be a whole week later.
And we will have forgotten by then.
Yeah, like a
You're doing
squirrel.
what? The who? The what?
In any case, thank you for watching. We had the numbers up to 4. That's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, tell your friends that there's this podcast that's always super random.
Well, it's not always super random. Well, no, it's always super random. You're right.
Or it's repetitive. We talk about the same stuff a lot.
Hey, let's talk about Star Trek, guys.
And EV cars.
And EV car. Boy, I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yep.
Okay, well, I will see you guys then.
Yep. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Andy.
And I
Thank
hope
you,
you
Brent.
feel better, Andy. Because
bronchitis is terrible.
That's nasty.
Kick its ass.
Hope you feel better.
I don't know who the 4th person is, if it's Brent on another server or not, but and if you're watching this from the recorded portion, and obviously I don't see your numbers here, thank you for watching it, even though it's recorded.
Agreed. And remember to click the like and subscribe buttons all over the place and do the things. And until then, that's all the time we have for today. I've been Guy.
I've been Troy.
And I've been Alex.
And this is Geek Tank.